Let's start with you, Venkat. A little bit more on your role and your background.
Yeah, happy to do that. So I didn't study IT. I'm a mechanical engineer, and in my first job, I was asked to do QA, right, quality assurance. And I realized, oh my God, I hate this. So then I was on the lookout for an industry where that's not so important, and guess what? That was IT. So any bug is a new feature. So yeah, no QA. So that's basically how I pivoted to IT, and I've been there ever since. So my background, I grew up in India and studied in Singapore, and moved, followed my heart to Germany. This is where I live now. And I'm now with DHL since about 16 years. I've done various roles, the latest one being the platform lead for contract lifecycle management, and helping legal with technology adoption, and basically finding value with digital transformation.
So, diverse background, come from solution architecture, consulting, digital transformation, and being in the technology-led transformation for about 12 years, and was fascinated with CLM 3 years back while I was working with AI and analytics in DXC, and saw that its domain is growing, so took over the regional role in Sirion. Been fortunate to have been working with customers who have not only signed up with us, but have gone live and are willing to sit on stage and talk about it, which is very rare in the CLM industry. What we want to do in this session is not talk about us, but keep it interactive, because it's such a vast domain that everybody assumes CLM to be a very different beast compared to what some of the noise in the market is. So wanted to basically have your view of what you want to hear from us, as well as, of course, we have a point of view which we share with you. So keep scanning the QR code and asking the questions, and we'll get the questions going. So, Mrin, back to you.
Thank you, Rahul. So, Venkat, given that DHL is a large organization, has a complex business structure, how does the legal process and the entire legal department work? How is it within DHL?
Yeah. So. Our previous CEO had this internally had this very famous saying. Right? He used to call us a family of divisions, which means there was no mandate from above saying we have to go this way. It was more really everybody trying to do the best for the family because it made sense. Given that, the challenge on the other hand is we really have a very diverse set of divisions, processes, and this is a challenge then our central functions like legal or finance or procurement actually that they need to deal with. So this actually forms a very important aspect or one of the big challenges when it came to choosing our CLM as well.
Okay. That's good to know. What are challenges that you have faced as part of all this legal and the contracting practices?
Yeah. So one of the things.
Sorry, before that, I'll just add on to it. And how did it prompt, or what prompted you for the CLM transformation? Just an add on to that.
Yeah. Okay. So 2 questions in one. I think given this setup and how we operate as a company, as a group, it meant we do have lots of silo or islands, and there was no visibility or transparency across the group. So this was one of the key challenges we've had from the beginning, where if our senior management would ask, hey, what is the business we're doing with one customer? We wouldn't know because it will be split across 5 different business units, right? And also, very often, like in many industries, our customers are often also our suppliers, right? So we do business with, for example, HP, who provides us technology, but we also ship their products, as a logistics company. So, and these kind of this transparency, this visibility, these synergies were not visible. And of course, finally, most important at that time, at least, was compliance. So if you don't know where your contracts are, where they sit, what they say, you have no chance to prove you're compliant, even if you are. So these were the challenges we had to tackle.
So in your quest of finding a good CLM platform, what were the criteria that you were looking at?
Yeah. I think that's actually, it was a painful journey for us. So we had, unfortunately, a couple of tries till we got it right. So we've been on this journey, as Mrin mentioned at the very beginning, for about 7 years, and with Sirion for 3.5 years. So you might ask, what did you do the other 3.5 years? So we were in the market looking for and working with, engaging with other partners, and we failed in one of those implementations or one of those partnerships. One of them actually got acquired by a very famous procurement P2P firm, which means we had to basically again pivot, and that's actually how in our criteria then it became really important that it's about cost for sure, yeah, but then it's about flexibility, it's about the scalability across the enterprise, and very importantly, someone who listened to us and could tailor the platform to our needs.
Okay, interesting. Rahul, you have been interacting with a lot of organizations and been discussing on CLM. What are the criteria that you have seen where most of them are looking out CLM for?
Yeah, and it's very interesting. So everybody starts differently, right? Sometimes an auditor comes up and says, there's an audit requirement that needs to be met, so you get your house in order. Sometimes it's basically a DORA compliance or one of the EBA, ESMA compliance that financial regulations have to do. You've seen customers start their ESG journey with CLM, and sometimes it's a pioneering head of procurement or head of legal, or probably even the head of digital, who says that we need to just get our 5th system of records, which is contracts, in shape. It does exist in a dead repository like a P2P system or in SharePoint, but we're not getting value out of it. And that then becomes the pivot to do that. So that's one part of the journey. The second part is, do we start from creation of contracts, or do we start from managing obligations, SLAs, price tables, the more complex supplier contract management side of the side? So we've seen customers come at us from various sides, and there is no right way of starting the transformation.
Oh, great. So Venkat, where did Sirion stand out in all of this?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot actually by you guys, and actually also other customers. I have to admit. So it's really interesting when you talk to other leaders in the industry. A lot of the talk often focuses on value for money or ROI and technology itself to its own end. But for us, actually, what stood out about Sirion is their focus on us as a customer. So from the very beginning, they listen to, you guys listen to our needs, our challenges, and most importantly, you are ready to work with us to solve those challenges. Right? And that's not a given. And yeah, I guess all of you who've worked with IT vendors or tried to implement IT platforms, you would know that. One of the examples I can give is within Sirion, there's a way you can give product feedback, and they're implemented as product enhancements. And we've got about 10 of them implemented in less than a year, which again, in terms of listening to feedback and actually bringing it to life, that has been a fantastic journey for us.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Okay. So what are certain values that you have got as part of this delivery from Sirion? What has Sirion given you?
Yeah. So in CLM, I think I would say we're still walking. We are not sprinting yet, which is good in an enterprise our size. It has been somewhat of a. We've had different sets of challenges across the different business units, but actually, we just did our quarterly survey last week, and we got our feedback across 1,000 users, 1,000 active users, and it's been really insightful. One of the key things that they have said, the value regeneration for them, has actually been just having the ease of use of the platform, of the repository especially. This is for smaller teams, right, who are just keen to get going. So you don't have to go to the market, you don't have to look for something. Sirion is scalable, so it works for them. So you can go for the simple repository use case as well as the most complex authoring, workflow approvals, all of that. So for us, I think just the ease of use of the repository has been flagged as very important. The second thing that has stood out is what you guys call auto extraction. Mm-hmm. So that's basically reading information out of contracts. So that has obviously simplified and reduced the manual, tedious tasks, and that has come out very well. And I think the third thing, actually, surprisingly, support. So the support teams from Sirion and how they turn around issues, how they listen to us, and how they implement the fixes has been highlighted as well.
Great, thank you for that. And has the risk and compliance improved because of this, and how?
Yeah, so here we are really starting on that journey. So as we have collected about, I think we have now 25,000 contracts in Sirion, we are starting to see the benefits of data. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we're driving in a business unit is with the CFOs, simple things like compliance in terms of, hey, we have so many vendors in our SRM or in accounts payable, and we have how many contracts? So, so start doing that kind of analysis. Or payment terms, of course, the classic example. That's a challenge. I don't know if you'll ever solve it, because it's I know since I've been in this industry for 15 plus years, we've been talking about it. So, but these are the things that we now, with the view of the payment terms from the contracts versus what's in the AP systems, we start to consolidate that, okay, and come up with transparency.
So, what's the future looks like for contracting within DHL? Are you looking at any specific use cases to be implemented in near future?
Absolutely. In fact, our procurement organization is, as you know very well, running the MVP, a pilot. As we speak, we are almost finished. We are at the final stages of evaluation and decision to proceed. That I think is a big win for us in the group, because that means we will scale up by a magnitude of 10, right, in terms of the number of contracts, number of the amount of spend, and so on. So that's something we are really looking. That's our big next milestone, I would say. Beyond that, we are definitely tackling a broad variety of use cases, be it high like simple contracts authoring. Mm-hmm. For example, we have a lot of service partners across the globe, and these are usually pretty standard contracts, and that's something we are trying to get that automated, as well as we are looking into more complex ones like customer contracts. So usually our customer contracts tend to be quite complex. It's bespoke very often, and that's a difficult use case for us still, but that's on the horizon as well.
All right, great. So we've got a lot of questions coming in. First one, have you faced challenges on adoption, and how have you overcome some of those challenges?
Oh, yes, of course. I wasn't even going to go there, because I think everybody gives the same answer. So I was hoping to avoid that one, but okay. So first, I think you do need to pick the right partner and the right platform, because if you fail there, you're going to have a really tough time getting your teams and your users to adopt it. The second thing, as everybody always says, is having a right-sized department to be able to support the implementation, lead that, make sense of that, governance, all of that. And of course, most important, you do need the budget and the management support. It's taken us a while. Again, that's why I talk about this as the afterlife, so to speak. So for me, this is my afterlife. We had a very difficult start before Sirion, and now I think we are in a much better place.
Excellent. Glad to hear. All right. Next question. How do you measure efficiency gains through Sirion?
That's, again, something we've been avoiding in DHL because we believe not all of the gains can be quantified as efficiency gains. But in some cases, there are two challenges. One, it's a starting baseline. And without the right tools, it gets very difficult to measure that. But we've started doing that now, and we see pretty good results in terms of just like the very first use case within the first agreement types, we are seeing about 10, 15, 20% benefits. Yeah.
And so typically for what we would typically see is like the amount of time it takes from request to signature, how it is dropping, the amount of time you've taken negotiation, how it is dropping, which are the type of clauses that are getting most negotiated and how they are dropping. And then, of course, on the post-signature side, any value realized, hard savings, soft savings, KPIs and compliance. Some of those are not easy to measure, but multiple ways of tracking that. And of course, most important is getting users to use the tool so that you have that community you start building on. So
that's true. That's absolutely true.
Excellent. All right, next question we've got. What's your perspective on enabling buying under contract by connecting CLM with P2P systems and the best way to operationalize this concept?
Can you just repeat the first part of the question?
Sure. Your perspective on enabling buying under contract, in quotes, by connecting CLM with P2P systems.
Yeah. That is indeed on our roadmap. I think that for us, that makes a lot of sense. That is something we would absolutely love to do. We use one of the leading P2P platforms, so we believe that we should be able to connect that integrate that with Sirion and benefit from that. So I think that has been a gap, I guess, probably in many procurement departments, which has been left unaddressed for too long. So that's something we're looking forward to address. So.
Yes, and so there are some of our customers who've connected Ariba, as well as Coupa, as well as Ivalua, sometimes even Jaeger, from an integration standpoint. So whenever there is an end of a sourcing event, that essentially becomes a trigger for generating a contract from Ariba. You take all of the supplier data that's generated out of that event, automatically generate a template that then goes into negotiation. Post-negotiation, we trigger Ariba to issue the purchase order. The purchase order along the digital signature is then stored in the Sirion repository, which is the standard flow. And of course, then you can have complicated flows, which is existing agreements as not a sourcing event, and then you keep doing amendments for all of the changes that you do across the buying cycle. The flow remains the same for a Coupa or Ivalua. Those systems are slightly better to integrate with Ariba, which is slightly legacy, but just the flows change. Otherwise, more or less, P2P-wise, that part remains more or less consistent as how customers use that flow. So,
yeah, indeed. Yeah. No, exactly. I think that's exactly what we're doing. So for sourcing events, plus as well as purchase orders, which are more standard call-offs.
Yeah.
That's exactly where we're looking into.
Yeah. And what we've heard our customers say is that at this point in time, procurement needs to lean on to legal so that we are not creating a conflict. What procurement typically does is there's already an MSA, there are already terms in an MSA, but the purchase order will go with further terms, which a lot of time conflicts with the MSA. So just get that harmony right with the CLM, because that's the purpose why you put it there, and get that structure right so you can flow from there.
All right, we've got a few minutes left, so I'll move on to the next question. What is DHL's biggest value-creating use case using AI in CLM?
Yeah. There's actually a very current use case we're running. It's contract audit quality. So that's something we've been struggling with for years, and it's such a manual, tedious process exercise, as you all know. And now the things we can do with AI, it lets us basically automate that process of at least flagging those gaps or those deviations to the experts, who can then go, oh yeah, that does look wrong. I'll go and change that. Or in some very, very simple cases, it can do that automatically. So that is something. Again, if you want to start with AI, I think this is something key to keep in mind. That is, do something that benefits or creates delight for the end user as well as the senior management. Because I think this is just taking away those tedious tasks. It is such a delight for the end users as well, and they're very supportive.
Excellent. We would all need a little more delight in life. I think we'd all be a little better off. All right, here we go. What is Sirion's approach to on-the-fly automated negotiation of contracts using GenAI?
So I can take that. So what we've done is built 3 parts to the negotiation. The first is what we call as issue detection, and the second is what we call as auto redlining. Right? So in issue detection against your playbook, we can detect all of the issues that sit within the contract. Either they deviate from what would be your standard or preferred position, or it could be a risk that is flagged in the contract that is either a third-party contract or has been marked up by a third party on your own template. So that's the first part, which is issue detection. So on the right-hand side, it will tell you pretty much all of the issues that are there, whether they're red, amber, and green, so that you can start the markup process. The second is auto redlining, where the tool has actually marked that up for you with changes and red lines basis your playbook. And now you can go and edit, with the help of a lawyer, what that position starts to look like. And at that point in time, it is also flagged positions that have been given by the third party that did not exist in your playbook, which are basically unidentified clauses that you can also start working on. So it was EAP last quarter. It's now general release available for our customers. And the last feature, which builds on what Venkat was saying, is Talk to My Contract, which is a GPT for contracts, as well as Talk to My Corpus, which is the GPT for you to talk to your entire contract repository.
All right, excellent. We're almost out of time, so any final thoughts from today?
Well, I would say, just go for, follow your heart, follow your guts, and do what you think is right for your organization. It doesn't have to follow like industry leader standards or something that you've always done in the past. What I believe worked for us is actually we did take a small bet, however, on Sirion at that time, and it worked out great for us. So I would encourage everybody to, give it their best.
Thank you.
All right, thanks so much to our speakers. Have a great rest of your time at DBW. We'll see you. Have a great afternoon.